A podium is something well known to public speakers. Public speaking is an activity that is popular with leadership. And basically, when you just think about leadership, you think about being in the front, you think about being in front of people, you think about all eyes on you. It's almost impossible to lead at any level without having to teach, to encourage, to address issues, to negotiate, to talk about things like all of these things I've just mentioned right now are examples of what kind of public speaking that a leader might need to engage in at whatever level. You will engage in public speaking. It's almost impossible that you will not feel that. So, public speaking is you making oral presentation to live audiences. And if we're saying live audience, we're not particular about the number of people. Your live audience can be one. Live audience just means that somebody is paying attention to you at that particular moment. You are the one making an oral presentation, and they are, listening to you. So audience can be one, audience can be more. And a podium is a raised area for such a person to talk, a raised area for someone to speak. This time around, the number is relevant, and is relevant in the sense that you're taking that position so that people can see you well, people can hear you, right? But then again, are we going to say that if you were called to a conference and there's a podium, that's the raised area for you to come and speak, and then you discover that instead of having 1,000 people, there are 50 people there, are you going to step down from the podium? Not necessarily. So again, even if podium is related to having large people that you are addressing, is not as relevant as the fact that a podium is a raised place for you, for the reason that you will be quite visible and people will hear you. We got that, and I hope that this thing that I've just shared, created an image in your mind. The fact that the leader and public speaking, they move, they are quite popular together, and public speaking is quite popular with podium. And we have an idea what podium is. I am not here tonight to talk about public speaking, however. I'm here to talk about your character. So think about your character like the podium. So your character is publicly speaking, and it is in a raised position for everybody, whoever, to see. If you're serious about being a leader, you better think of your character like a podium. If you are called a leader, your character projects you constantly to a live audience, just like a podium does, whether you choose to publicly speak or keep mute. If you have ever heard the saying that possibly you have heard it, they say from grass to grace, or fell from grace to grass, that saying is talking about character, which means that as much as the podium can be the place of your elevation, it can either project your grace or project your shame. So the elevation in itself is not the promotion. The leadership title is not the promotion. The leadership title only projects you. Because the moment you step on the podium, everybody sees you, right? Now, your character in this sense, being your podium, it means that it can either show something that everyone that knows you will have to cover their face for, or it can show something that makes everyone applaud you. Just as you do not want to be in the public view if you are badly dressed. If you will not get in front of people because you're badly dressed. If you go or fall into position of leadership, you don't want to have bad character. Like grass to grace, leadership is an amplifier. The character you refuse to correct in your grass season, it will bring you down from grace at the slightest elevation to a position of leadership. That's what I came to talk to you about. That you begin to treat your character like the podium as a leader. So what is character? It is the distinctive attributes of an individual, the person, traits that distinguishes the person of an individual. So tell me, if you're in the position of leadership right now, grace or grace, which level are you? What are your character traits? Because they are the determination of whether you're on the grass level or you're on the grace level. Because the grass level It can mean the place of growth, the place of pruning, so that you can so that when you are elevated, you can, enjoy the celebration of grace. If it is on the grace level, it means that yes, you can identify characters that you know will keep you standing the test of time on that elevated position. There are many good traits to build into your character as a leader, but I've chosen to share just my top three with you tonight. And my top three character traits that you should have or develop as a leader. Top three are the ones I'm going to share with you, and then I'll be out of here, and I'll look out for questions. Number one is integrity. Have integrity. Let it be said of you, let your name be distinguished for integrity. Integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. Think about it like the podium that I've been using as an example. The podium itself is made of three, let me call it character traits, three components. First is the platform that is created, then is the lectern. So sometimes, okay, let me use church. If you've ever been in church, you see some of them have those, what do they call pulpit? They call it pulpit. That's the lectern. You have the microphone. So sometimes when you see, let me give you an example of like when you watch presidential debates or gubernatorial debates, where you see that wooden stuff and then they put two microphones like standing like so. That's a podium. So sometimes you may find something that is actually lifted off the ground, like they put the lectern on something like a stage that is already made higher than the audience. Do you get the picture? So, and sometimes it may not be, but I'm just saying that. So the first thing is that the raised area might even just be that there's just a carpet or rug, someone walks there, everybody's eyes on such person, depending on the size of the place where you're speaking. But these are the components. That raised area, that place where you are made to stand out, and then there is the lectern, and then there is the microphone. Right? Microphone may be there the way I describe it or not. I'm just giving you the caricature of what the podium will be classically. Do you understand? There are different ways that you can see them today, but basically that's what it is. Okay, so consider integrity as that raised area. That's the way I want you to see it. This is why these are my top three, and this one is my number one. Consider the elevation points. Consider this integrity as your elevation points. Integrity is a sure platform to stand on because you have no fear of being crumbled by just any misfortune of the life. You have nothing to fear. Like somebody said on one of my posts today, I think the person was making a comment on something I posted and said, every lie has an expiry date. I mean, I could immediately relate it to the saying that, that let me say to Yoruba, Bí rọ́bà lológun ọdún, ọjọ́ kan ti tó àgbà. There's another one that says, please, I'll translate later, that ìyan ogún ọdún, I don't remember it very well anymore, but meaning that there is no way, there is no how, it's not possible for you to lie, and your lie will live forever. It has an expiry date. The truth must find it, and it's amazing. So it may just be extended. Even the Bible said that there is nothing new under the sun, and everything that is covered, it will be revealed. So it's better you start building the character traits of integrity right now. I'm saying character traits. It means you might not have it, you can just begin to develop it. Make up your mind. And there's a clause to it too. If you don't want to be somebody that is significant, if you're wondering if you're a leader, please watch the previous conversation on YouTube about the leadership checklist. So it's very easy, but leadership it permits all walks of life, all right, at different points in time. So if you're serious, basically, it just means that if you're serious about living a significant life, you better start developing these character traits of integrity so that people can distinguish you as someone that is honest and has undivided moral principle. People will point at you and say, that man will not do this. There are some certain things that should not be brought to you. The time for you to determine that you're a principled person, I'm now paraphrasing, the time for you to determine that a principled person should not be after someone that come to tempt you. You have to define your values before that time. And how do you define your values? People will see the traits in you. There are some things that people will not even bring near you and discuss around you. That's when you know that, yes, you are doing the work. Integrity is my number one on my top 3 list of character traits to build or develop as a leader. Number 2 is accountability. It's simply the quality of being held answerable. I mean, there are all sorts of definitions I probably get for this thing, but I'll just tell you, because you got to be able to use this right now. Be answerable, be answerable, be answerable, be answerable to somebody, to some system, to a plan, to be answerable to God. Accountability. Consider this as that the part I call the lectern, the podium. What do you do with the lectern? Watch speakers. When they stand, they hold on to it. Sometimes they lean on it. Think of it like building your support system. Accountability is like that. It's not just the fact that you're answerable. You feel being answerable seems like, maybe you are supposed to be coward in fear. Yeah, it means that there must be people that you actually fear. Have a mentor, have maybe as a man or woman, married, your children. I mean, be answerable to somebody. Be answerable to somebody. When you have this, it gives you opportunity to be guided. It's not just about being corrected, but correction is part of it as well. Have people that can correct you. Have systems that can correct you. Having goal sets, having coaches. I just don't want to talk about those very, very obvious ones. Having the right kind of friends. Maybe, someone just thought that coaching may not be that very obvious. Well, I don't know. But I want you, at whatever level you are right now, to see that you can be answerable. Have the right friends. Friends that can call you out. Like, what's that? What did you just do? So you can be guided, you can be corrected, you can also enjoy covering, you can be covered, and you'll be kept standing in time of weakness. So accountability, my number 2 on the top 3 list of character traits to build if you're serious about being a leader. And last but not least, empathy. Having the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Some years back, I was forced to I used to think that, I think a lot of people might feel like that generally. Maybe you feel that everybody thinks the way you are thinking or feels the way you are feeling. So it used to bother me then when I saw some people not behaving in a way that I feel like, be compassionate now. Like, think about this. Don't be like this. That was when I learned that I'm an empath, and there's the extreme opposites, like there's psychopath. I wouldn't have loved to be on that, but I just read the different kinds of the character traits. Basically, I don't want to go too deep into that, but I just shared that to say it may not be a commonplace, but you can develop it. I know that, and not just that it may not be a commonplace. Some people may actually have a problem with it. Maybe you have some things to deal with personally. I mean, you get what I'm saying? Some people may be emotionally, psychologically, maybe traumatic experiences in the past, abuse and all of that. I mean, I've made you become this person that is just unfeeling and uncaring and hard and cold. So you may have things to work on, okay? And by all means, I'm saying go and do it. Because if you're really going to lead, don't forget grace or grace. Because remember, the elevation, the character, it doesn't stop you from being put in that position. But leadership is an amplifier. It will show. So will it be grace or will it be grace? Which one? So pray. Pray. I remember that there was a time, my pastor then used to, when we go for evangelism or when we're praying about souls some years back, and my pastor would keep on saying, pray that your bowels of compassion will be open. I used to wonder, which one is bowels of compassion now? He would to me, which one is bowels of compassion? But I understood later. You've got to have that inside of you to really want to go after people and want to help them. And this is also necessary for you in business. That's what I told you, because if you don't see the need for what you are offering and how people will really need this, you will not even be able to market well, let alone sell. Do you understand? So um, I have to keep bringing myself back, not to go into business matters and all of those things. Basically, so that's just it. Empathy, ability to feel and understand other people, like get them. If you're relating this to a podium, consider it as your point of connection from effort to results. Imagine you'll be called to the podium right now. You've you're elevated, you have the support, remember the lectern, so everything is set, and you refuse to speak into the microphone. That's how it is. Connection, okay? It is like the microphone part of the podium. What's the point of being elevated and supported if your position is of no favorable effect? I mean, just imagine that kind of scenario. So everyone is waiting, watching, listening, and expecting to hear from you, and you're not just speaking into the microphone, you're speaking elsewhere, or you're whispering. That's how it is. You're leading people, and you have no empathy. You you no send. People talk, people complain, people are crying, people are lamenting, and it's just as if, I mean, you're just on feeling. What's your use? No matter the level of your grace, it's all coming down. So those are my top three. You confirm what you will,